Your stress levels were fine Sunday, right?
Absolutely. They were just fine.
So Aaron told us how, I think it was before the game winner, he came over to you and said, Mason got this. And I forget who said it. It might have been McAfee who said, Mo has to say he's got it. What is he going to say? He's not going to get it? But did you actually believe he was going to make that after
Yes.
3 minutes? Why?
Yes, because he's Mason Crosby.
Okay.
I trust our process. I trust the guys who are on the field at that given time, that given moment. The ball was going through the H. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I believed exactly what I said. I meant exactly what I said. And Aaron went a little further, and he said, hey, I can read people's eyes. And if you haven't noticed by yet, I have, big eyes. And sometimes my eyes talk, and the players read my eyes. And Aaron was reading my eyes and not necessarily my voice.
So with that said, it's such a bizarre day because you hit a game-winning field goal, and that's good. That's a really good thing. And then there's the three that happened before that, and that was a really bad thing. So what happened on the three? Were they consistent issues, and how do you fix that?
Well, I can tell you it wasn't consistent issues. Everybody owns a part in it. Ultimately, it falls on me, and we have corrected it. We are a work in progress. That's what makes football so great. One week you're hot, the next week you're not. So you got to get back to the basics, do simple better, and just keep working at our craft. But we feel good where we are right now moving forward.
You say you corrected it. Everyone, special teams is such an underserved part of the game. There's not a lot that we know about it. Everyone wants to know what was it.
Yeah, we're not going to get into the it, but it was several it's that reared its ugly head, and we just approached and attacked correcting each one of the it's.
So when Mason misses a couple in a row like that, I'm just curious, are you talking to him on the sideline, or are you leaving him alone? Like, what's your approach, as that sequence of kicks is going on?
Yeah, with our relationship, we talk. We communicate. I'm a big communicator. I believe in over-communicating versus under-communicating. We have to communicate, and depending on what exactly happened, I give my feedback, he gives his, and we attack it. We attack the next play.
Are you a kick doctor? Like, there's special teams coordinators who couldn't coach a kicker to save their lives. It's just not their job,
I'm not a kick doctor. I'm not a snap doctor. I'm not a holding doctor. I kind of consider myself more of a mad scientist when it comes to putting puzzles in different spots, organizing and moving human beings in different spots, and trying to gain an advantage from that standpoint. That's my area of expertise.
Okay, so like I said, if Mason's having problems, it's up to Mason basically to figure it out, just because he's the expert, right? I mean, he's kicked it for,
He is an expert,
years.
but it's not solely for him to figure it out. Obviously, as a special teams guy, I want guys who are self-fixers, and Mason is a self-fixer, but I also know enough, and also being blessed to be in this position to where I give my feedback as well.
So, Mo, I was hoping you'd answer Ryan's question, because when I asked LaFleur that on Monday, he gave me homework to go home and study the snaps and the operation. And it did appear that Corey had to spin the hold, at least on the first one, and my understanding of long snapping, not from my own experience, but from Brett Good, is that you're shooting as a long snapper to have the laces pointed at the sky, so you just have to put it down. Is that a fair?
That is a fair assessment. That is the goal in most buildings.
So is that something that Hunter needs to be more consistent at, because that does affect the operation if Corey has to spin it and get it pointed the right direction?
Yes, in our operation, we would love for the laces to be as such where Corey just has to put the ball down and find the spot. We're talking about putting the ball on a spot that size. If it's off to the left or off to the right a little bit, it affects where Mace or any kicker makes contact on the ball. And I tell you what, when you look at a football, it's oblong, right? It doesn't travel like a round ball. And it truly, a ball has a mind of its own. It really does. And if you go and you hit that ball, too low, or you hit it too high, it's going to do, just go off on its own. I will say this too, about once a year in the National Football League, there'll be a rash of missed kicks. And it seemed to always happens on the same weekend. There were 27 missed kicks in the league this past weekend. 13 of them are what you would consider to be layups or PATs. And I think that's eye-opening for all of us as specialists to, hey, we got to get back to the basics. Let's do what got us here, and fall back on our training, our teachings, and our fundamentals.
Well, do you think Amari, I understand it's a week-to-week thing and you don't get a ton of opportunities, but do you think he's taking some meaningful steps forward?
Yes, Amari is doing a better job of attacking the ball, attacking the returns. And you can do the homework once again. I'll give you a cheat sheet or cliff notes on this one. From game one, Amari would catch the ball, he would process, look, then run. Now he's getting more comfortable as he's catching the ball, putting in the catch pocket, moving in the direction of our return. So, yes, he is getting better.
And we were, obviously, you told us it's 4 games when we were all raving about Corey. He's not going to be perfect every time. What happened on the one that obviously was not the way he wanted to?
Yeah, the drop was off, and it's gonna happen that way. If he drops the ball the way he did, that's the result that we'll get. I tell you, it was some funky winds in that stadium. It really was, and we're gonna have some funky winds this week too. But we have the best learning laboratory for it. Every time we step on that practice field, I tell you, the wind is whipping in any direction, and so we do have the environment to train in it. But yeah, it was a crazy wind. The wind actually affected his drop. It wasn't him dropping it in the wrong place. When he dropped the ball, the wind actually moved it.
Whether it's offense or defense, we talk all the time about rookies adjusting at whatever position. We don't talk about that much with punt returners. How different is the college game for a punt returner compared to the NFL game?
It's very different. First of all, your average NFL hang time is upwards anywhere between 4.5 to 5.0. In college, it's nowhere near that. Plus, also in college, a lot of these teams do the rugby-style punt where they're rolling out. So the ball has a lower trajectory, it's bouncing off the ground, so they have to be masters of fielding the ball off of the turf versus getting to a spot, dealing with wind, camping under the ball so that they can return it. The velocity on a ball coming back down to earth anytime it gets above 5.0 is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's a tough ball to catch.
Well, do you guys set up for punt returns, or do you always like to pressure?
Oh, no. Well, we do both. We do both. It's based upon the situation. It's nothing that our opponents can't tell on film. We're a situational pressure team, situational return team.